So first, I'm very curious about the structure of the script and being able to figure out how it's flowing while you're writing, because this is not a traditionally formatted story here.
Yeah, I tend to not think linearly, and so I want storytelling to be reflective. And when people tell stories, they're suddenly telling you a story, and they go, "Oh, wait a minute, I forgot to tell you something. 2 months before this thing happened, you need to know about these things, etc." And so, for a movie that's basically about making assumptions about people, but without taking any opportunity to get to know them, or making assumptions that you know what's going on, I think that the movie was structured in a very specific way to be in a perspective, a point of view. Unfortunately, that point of view is often shot and killed, or explodes, and then you have to sort of switch. But the idea of getting almost an hour into the movie before you start to explain what the villains are really up to and why, that's my favorite kind of story to tell, because people don't give you their motivation in life. Nobody likes to really explain why they're behaving the way that they are, and very few people even know why they're behaving the way they are.
How is a role pitched to someone like Emma Roberts? Do you actually go up to her and say, we want you in this movie, but we're gonna kill you off in a flash?
Well, it's a great question. That's what Jason Blum is for. Jason makes that call. He has a relationship with Emma. And I think that part of the fun of the role was essentially, we need somebody who the audience is actually gonna believe is gonna be the star of a Jason Blum movie. That would be you. And just know that you're gonna get killed about 5 minutes in. And Emma was like, "That sounds delightful." I don't know if she used the word delightful. She might, in my recollection, she did. But she was she was totally game.
I often describe most of the bloody horror movies I see as delightful, so I understand something about this. Another very untraditional thing about this movie is that Betty, your character, is, I guess she's pretty much the same from start to finish. She's very consistent. So I'm just curious, what is it like playing a character with an untraditional arc like that?
Yeah, well, to me, she has an internal arc, but I do think that it's rare to see a female protagonist who you're not let in on every step that's going on in her brain. I'm used to, as an actress, playing characters who really externalize what they're thinking and feeling and wanting and needing. And it was really fun to get to play someone who is not letting you in on their secret. It's when Craig was talking to me about casting in this way, I was saying, I'm a TV person. They're not going to let me be the star of this movie. And he was like, "No, we're going to cast it with a bunch of movie stars who just die at the beginning. But we'll just put all of them in the trailer." I was like, "Oh, perfect."
And that's what we did.
Yeah.
Just wait. I mean, if Glow hasn't already done it, your performance in this, I'm not just saying it because I'm sitting here, it's something else. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is your conversation with Sergeant Dale. Yeah. And in particular, the moment where she doesn't actually verbalize with words what she's trying to say. I'm curious, was that in the script, or is that something that you came up with?
That was not on the page. No. And, in watching those dailies, I was like, man, I retire, because now I'm going to have to tell everybody that wasn't my idea. And it was so good. Words always get in the way of moments like that. And obviously you have to have an incredible performance to be able to communicate something non-verbally like that, particularly in that moment, in the context of a fun, ridiculous, over-the-top movie, to suddenly just say, "Bring it in, everybody. Mm-hmm. Let's just get real." Every time I've seen the movie play, the audience just gets super quiet. And then when Betty makes that move, there's sort of a little bit of uncomfortable laughter, but it just feels like it's exactly what the screenplay needed and didn't have. So thank you for identifying that and for prescribing it and for administering it.
It is so unique.
Well, it's really rare. I love being an actor, but I also love appetizers and paying my rent. And a lot of roles I've played, it feels a little like, maybe it feels like this in any job, where sometimes it feels like soul church and sometimes it feels like you're putting lip gloss on your journal and selling it for 5 cents. And the roles, like this script, it just felt like every door in my brain creatively was open because of the writing, because of Craig's direction, and it just felt like one of those rare times where you feel just sort of unplugged and there's a clear highway from your deepest, weirdest ideas out of your brain. And you can't do that alone. It has to be in really good writing and with really good direction. And yeah.
And can I just say this, not to be super serious, but between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m., if you go to Applebee's, there's free appetizers.
Okay.
You can get jalapeno poppers, like all that stuff, and you deserve appetizers.
You also deserve all the grilled cheese in the world,
Oh.
John. I'm fine with
I'm
that
hungry
too.
now.
That grilled cheese was so good.
The fact that there's not a full spread of grilled cheese, I'm like disappointed there's any variation in hospitality today.
Yeah.
Look, Universal has been amazing in every way that I can imagine, but they won't spring for the Gruyere. Like, they just won't do it.
Was
I mean,
that not
admittedly,
Gruyere
I'm
in
an
the
American cheese
movie?
person.
I don't know if it was it prop Gruyere?
No, I think it was Gruyere.
It was
It's
the Gruyere-
American
it was-
cheese or mozzarella cheese on your grilled
I think
cheese.
Hillary put in her contract, I
Has
only
to be
work with
Gruyere.
real Gruyere.
It tasted
Yes.
so good.
She's all about the cheese choices.
Right. Yeah.
Have
the
you guys
cheeses.
thought much at all
She's
about what she does right after the events of the movie? Like, does she fly home and kind of get, I don't know, like a renewed sense of confidence and go about her life in a different way?
Yeah, Craig and I were joking that maybe she just doesn't tell anyone, and the sequel is just her in a rom-com, and she like keeps trying to be like, so this crazy thing happened. And he was like, I'm gonna actually keep talking, and then you just see her like have a PTSD flashback, and then
Oh, can you
Yeah.
please do that? There's so many sequel ideas. I won't get into that with you. But I do have to read one note from the Collider team for you. I'm
Oh,
just going to read
please.
it in the team's words
tell me
because
that-
I don't want to
Tell
take
me
all of
that
this on my
Steve was
shoulder.
there.
How much money would we need to pay you to make a Watchmen season 2?
Oh my God. I wish that I had an idea for Watchmen season 2. And I really wish that there is going to be a Watchmen season 2. We put it all on the field for season 1, and every great idea we had, I was like, what if we just put that in season 1 versus, let's stick it away for later. And so could there be a second season of Watchmen? I personally hope that there is, but I don't think it should exist just because people liked the first season.
Just because I'm curious about classifications like
That
this.
said, like about $370,000 is the answer to
Well,
your question.
yeah,
It's a
really.
very specific number.
What was the impetus behind changing the designation of the show from a drama series to a limited series?
That decision actually happened well above my pay grade. I think that when we went and pitched the show to HBO, we said we're just going to do one season and then see where we are. And just so you know, it's more of a Fargo model or a True Detective model where if there were other seasons of the show, it would reset. It's not the continuing adventures of these characters. And they were like, cool. And then when the series ended, they were like, are you going to do a second season? And I was like, I don't have any ideas. And they were like, oh, so you meant what you said before. And so I think that because there's only going to be one of them, it feels more appropriate to call it a limited series than a drama series. But again, I don't. I get consulted on these decisions, but I don't make them.